Okay, thank you for joining us. My name's Jill Davey, and I'm a teacher with True North Insight. Thanks for being here. This is a drop-in meditation class, and some people have been here on the Zoom recording. Some may be listening to the audio on Dharma Seed or watching us later on YouTube. Welcome to all of you whenever you're here to share practice. Hmm. So the topic tonight is cooling the mind, and that came about because it's hot here where I'm calling in from, and humid, and but aside from the state of the body, I was noticing my mind states today were there was dullness and confusion, and that created doubt, not seeing clearly. I was unsure what I wanted to talk about in this practice shared together tonight. I changed my mind about an hour before, less than an hour, and after working on something for a while, but it just wasn't clicking, and then that was creating doubt and aversion and more confusion. And so then I finally, not I, but a realization arose. Well, that's what I need to talk about then, and practice. And so reflecting on this cooling of the mind, it connects with a very important word in the teachings of Dharma and the teachings of the Buddha, which is in the language of Pali. Pali is the language the teachings were first written down in, as far as we know. And this word is nibbāna. So it's I'll write it underneath in the YouTube notes. And for those that are just listening, it's nibbāna. And nibbāna is the word that in Sanskrit becomes nirvāna, which we may have heard of, a great band, first of all, but also nirvana is like, nirvana, this heavenly realm, this idea of some perfection place. Like for me, it evokes that thought of like a place. Nirvana is like something other than this, certainly. And I want it. How do I get there? and it's interesting that idea of getting somewhere or some place or something, it may relate for you to this other word, enlightenment, that we may have heard of with meditation teachings, or enlightenment and enlightened masters. And masters is a very male term, but enlightened mistress doesn't sound quite right either. So enlightened beings, how about that? And this word enlightenment also can have that feeling, may for you, I don't know, for me, when less so now, but it certainly used to feel like some place, some realm, some other state than this, that was something I'm supposed to try to get to. I want to be enlightened, get enlightened, etc. And it's difficult to trace the roots of the word enlightenment in terms of the Buddha's teaching, because what the Buddha actually, the word he used to describe, as best we know, what has now become what we call enlightenment is this word nibbāna. What he said is, yeah. So this word nibbāna was actually a really common word in the times of the Buddha, and it referred to putting out a fire, and was just used in daily usage when referring to a fire going out or putting out a fire, cooling a fire, and this is the word that the Buddha used to describe awakening, which I think is really interesting because it's quite an everyday term at that time. And what it actually means, the translation of nibbāna, is extinguishing the fire. So this means putting out the flames of the root defilements of greed, aversion, and delusion. So I'm just looking down, pardon my eyes being down from you, but I'm looking at the Pali English dictionary, and the definition for nibbāna goes on for 4 pages. So, but some aspects here is one of these phrases, and it's so interesting to me because those of us on the Zoom call were chatting beforehand about what's been fiery for us lately, or what's been stressful or hot states of heart and mind and body for us today. And one of the definitions here of nibbāna is the dying out in the heart of the threefold fire of lust, ill will, and delusion, or greed, aversion, and delusion, as I said. And the dying out in the heart of the threefold fire, because one of the members here was sharing this sense of the fire in the heart, this burning sensation or heat, and also a lot of us were sharing also this as state of mind, this kind of aggravated, fiery states of mind of aversion or ill will or doubt, which is similar to delusion, not seeing clearly, or desire, wanting something, well, we could go on with our huge list of wantings. And so this, it's also described as peace and rest, perfect, passionless, and thus the supreme happiness. So passionless, this is not something most Western minds are a fan of. We're like, yeah, bring on the passion. What do you mean passionless? Why would I want that? I want more passion. And what this is referring to is the clinging passion, which again, somebody was sharing in the group, of realizing and awakening, having a moment of a clear seeing and awakening of seeing the clinging in a mind state. And when that is seen, that fire goes out. At this point, for this being, when the fires go out, it's still temporary. I'm still very hugely imperfect, and it's not like the final nibbāna, the final extinguishing of these flames, which the Buddha described as his awakening was the flames going out completely. And yet we can all experience these times and moments of clear seeing, which we were sharing in the group earlier, of seeing, this is really hot. This is really fueling me up. This is whatever the conditions and circumstances were, is really creating a lot of agitation and aversion and doubt and confusion. And when that is seen, in that moment of clear seeing and clear knowing, we're no longer adding more fuel to the fire. In those moments of recognizing, we're not throwing another log on the fire, which is what we're usually doing when we're proliferating states of mind, when we're like, yes, it's always going to be that way, and I am this and they are that, and it always has been, it's always going to be, and on and on with our stories of ourselves and other people. And to recognize those moments as moments, a taste, a glimpse of nibbāna, of the fire, maybe not fully going out, but not being fueled, not being added to. And this is very important. And these are moments of cooling. Yeah. And so I'm just glancing through some of these definitions. Here's another. These are some descriptions of what this state, this experience, this truth, this knowing of nibbāna is like. It's described as the harbor of refuge. That sounds cooling already. The harbor of refuge, just that state of heart and mind and body of safety, refuge, calm, a safe harbor. It's also described as the cool cave. These are synonyms for nibbāna, the cool cave. And we can bring this invitation to our body, our hearts, and our minds. And we'll do this in our practice. The island amidst the floods, the place of bliss, emancipation, liberation, safety, tranquil, the home of ease, the calm, the end of suffering. There's lots of them here, and I'm just picking out some that are, yeah. So what else do I want to say about that? There's, in this description, in this definition, it's pointed out that there's different ways of putting out the fire or cooling the fire. One way could be covering it up. When we cover it over with soil or something, how you put a blanket over a fire. You're actually, what you're doing there is cutting off the fuel of the oxygen. And depriving it of further fuel is another description. Not feeding it, not adding more fuel, or withdrawing the cause of the production of the fire. So we can either stop adding more fuel or cut off the fuel, which means stop the proliferation of the mind and heart. And so then the fire will die out on its own if we don't keep feeding it, or take away the source of the flames. So if we think of it in this way, let me just add that nibbāna, I don't have that here. Ajahn Chah was saying that it doesn't come from some external source, this putting out of the fire. It comes from our wisdom, from our clear seeing, comes from the causes and conditions of seeing clearly. Enlightenment, insight, awakening. It's not this nirvāna, some faraway place of something unreachable. It's in this very moment, in this very life, in this very heat, in this fiery existence is where this happens. And so how do we withdraw the fuel? If we can recognize, first of all, wow, I'm really on fire with something, some state of mind, state of heart. It can also be coming from states of our body that we may have an aversion to, or, you know, that we're adding more fuel to. So the body is going to experience aging, sickness, death. That's part of this human beingness. And it's our relationship to those states is what we have the potential, the possibility to cool, to release from the flames. And to do this, we stop adding kerosene to the fire. When we notice how we are proliferating and adding to the story and going over it again and imagining into the future and adding in our justifications from the past, we're the only ones that have any control over that to say, stop. Actually, this is not helpful. Not right now. If I need to plan something, I'm going to set aside time for planning. I often recommend that folks practice designated worry time and actually set aside a time. Here we go. Let's do it. Get out your journal and just stream of consciousness. Get all the worries out. Go for it. Big time. Worst case scenario. Get it all out there. And you set a timer and then you stop. And then when it comes up again at some other time during the day, you can say, not right now. We have a designated worry time. The subconscious mind then knows, oh, she is, or he, they are going to pay attention to this, and we're gonna get there. We're gonna go for all of it, and then you do it at that time, and then you're able to tell yourself, not right now. Right now, I'm going to eat this raspberry. Right now, I'm going to look into the eyes of this dear one. Right now, I'm going to feel this step or feel the coolness of the water on my hands. Right now, I'm going to be right here and right now. And in those moments, we've stopped adding fuel. This is to be recognized as a moment, an experience, a glimpse of, oh, the liberating cooling of the mind and heart. So let's practice this quenching the fever, quenching the fires. So to see what posture your body needs for your practice tonight. You can practice standing, walking, laying down, or sitting. These are 4 postures for practice. And so if there's a lot of sleepiness for you, you might practice standing. If there's a lot of restlessness in the body, you might practice with some slow walking back and forth. If there's a lot of pain in the body, you may need to lay down. If you're laying down, these are practices of awakening. And so you want to either raise up your forearm or have your knees bent and not leaning together so that if you fall asleep, that movement will wake you up and you can begin again. Okay. So as you've chosen your posture for your practice, sighing into some stillness. You can practice with the eyes closed or eyes open. If the eyes are open, restfulness in the eyes. So they're not looking for more entertainment and delight, but just a stillness to the eyes. So we'll begin just by bringing our attention to this form, this body in this moment. What does it feel like to invite coolness to the facial expression and the muscles and the skin of the head? Widening the forehead, calming the eyes, inviting some peace and ease to your inner expression, not needing to put on an outer expression for anyone else. Inviting cooling to the muscles of the neck and throat, calm, lengthening, relaxing, ease. As the face and neck and shoulders begin to relax, we can just check into the state of the heart. This area of the center of the chest is called the heart mind, chitta, the aware heart, the heart of awareness. And not needing to fix or get rid of anything, but just acknowledging if there's any fieriness here for us this evening or whenever you're practicing. This can show up as fear, as doubt, worry, anguish, grief, aversion, desire. Just a few more moments here, just acknowledging what's here for you this evening or this day and this moment. And then we'll come back to this in a few moments. And right now we'll just continue guiding our attention down the body. Notice if there's any fieriness in the hands, any gripping activity, clinging, tightness, pressure in the hands. Sometimes we notice just in the bare noticing of these things that a letting go happens. If that happens without trying to make it happen, just recognize that. And then letting the awareness float through the area of the belly, noticing any fieriness here. This can feel like agitation or gripping or grumbling, rumbling in the stomach area or the belly area. This can come from worry, doubt, fear, aversion, desire. And then just letting the attention continue all the way down the body, including the pelvis, the legs, the feet. We're just grounding and landing with our whole being in this moment. And in this sense of presence with ourselves, which is so precious. This gift you're giving yourself of meeting yourself right now. With however it is in this moment. We connect with the possibility that is here for each one of us, for the cooling of the flames of desire, aversion, and doubt, confusion. And it's said that this is realized in one's heart. It's not some far away place. This cool cave, this harbor of refuge, this island amidst the floods can be known right here and right now. By allowing the knowing that whatever is arising is impermanent, is conditioned, is unreliable. And therefore there's nothing to get rid of and nothing to get. And there's no confusion. these wonderful periods of silence, we have the opportunity to just notice any fuel that's added to the mind or heart by way of our thoughts. Sometimes the fuel is released and let go of just by noticing, and then it drops. And sometimes it's skillful to remove the source of the the cause of the flames by replacing the thoughts with something wholesome and skillful. May I be peaceful. May I be a safe refuge. May this heart mind be cooled. You can continue just resting in this open awareness, noticing when fuel is being added to the flames and noticing the absence of it. If you feel like your system needs a little bit more of an anchor, you could gently float the curiosity. Which part of my breath is most cooling and calming? Resting with the breath and attending to each breath. And in the silence, you may notice aversion or sleepiness or restlessness. And can those also be included as seeing that we could add fuel to those experiences and they can become dukkha, suffering? Or they can just be seen as arisings, impermanent, conditioned, without any need to get rid of. Cooling the heart mind right here and right now. And so if you've joined us on YouTube or perhaps listening on Dharma Seed, thank you for joining the practice. And there's links down below to offer support if you're able to. And I'll also put the spelling of nibbāna and some definitions of it there for this continued exploration and practice of the cooling of the mind and heart and the ending of the fires. Okay, so thank you for joining us.